Well, there's been another recent Manx Biomed conference here in the Isle of Man. Courtenay is with us because you used to organise it before you moved on.
Yeah.
But I couldn't make it last week due to scheduling. But I wanted to catch up with you because I know you were there, but also you got some more information on what the Isle of Well we were talking about 6 months ago.
Yep.
As always, great to see you because you're always sparking lots of ideas and enthusiasm, which I think is so important. And the area of medicine, I mean, it's in the news at the minute again on the Isle of Man about what we can do, what we can't do. But Isle of Well, should we have an update on that first of all?
Yeah,
how'd it go?
How's it going? 6 months ago, we had the Manx MSA test. That was just a discussion. We got it through Liverpool Ethic Biobank approval. We're working with UCL, Synapse Dx in Liverpool, and Protein Technologies in Manchester. So it sounds like quite a group to get together. Fortunately, each had got a unique skill, and we've then completed now blood tests on MSA patients, so multiple system atrophy, a very serious disease, and one that's not well understood. It's what we call a fundamental disease, but this is something where we've separated the blood to identify 3 disease markers, so MSA, multiple system atrophy, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. But this was funded by a Manx charity, Manx MSA charity, and so now we announced what is a world first blood test last Thursday at the
you've announced
it, yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
so we're
How did that go down?
I think those in the audience who understood it, which are only a few, I didn't fully, but it's the differentiation. It's the ability with the blood beads to measure, this is about 6/100th of the diameter of a human hair, so tiny. This is at the small micron level, and 1/10 of a micron. So these are incredibly small areas that people are measuring, but it was the combination technologies that are now giving us a diagnostic that we can go forward on. It's the going forward that's the next important piece, both for making MSA patients here aware, making the medics more informed on what this rare disease is, and then saying next stage, what can we do to make this a centre of learning around MSA? So our location is no barrier. We kick this project off here.
Is this a game changer then to come up with it?
It's end of the beginning. It's the first stage. It's the diagnostic. We need now the therapeutic. So what can we do that actually leads to a therapy, a medicine, a treatment? And so patients are informed earlier, because a particular patient we work with here, Chris Blake, it was the time it took, the years to be fully diagnosed, the complexity, the other system interactions that can mask other diseases. So we're delighted to work with MSA, and the next stage now is to say funding, make people aware, we're making progress, and this is going to be a real-world project as it progresses. So we've ended the first stage.
Okay, so we had the conference, and you used to be on the other side of it, and you bring people in, that sort of thing. But
yeah.
How's it looking? Is the Isle of Man still going to be a centre of wellness?
I hope so. I mean, the Isle of Well, it's a simple saying, for man or for women. Isle of woman, Isle of Well man. I mean, we're pleased we can do that. It'll take some innovation, it'll take some bravery, I think, from government, and some rewriting of the rules to say, what would wellness look like? How would we define it? It's not more medicines. It's not a system that currently has sick treatment at the heart. It takes perhaps some lead from Vermont. Vermont, as a state, has just said we will put forward 30,000 patients to pay physicians to keep them well, to understand the sociological, economic and political aspects of their illness, and say, can we pay you to keep these people well? Can we pay the doctors, the physicians, to keep patients out of hospital?
I know one of the headlines was about this 5 meds by 2020 or something. Sort of thing.
Yeah,
is this like because we're taking too many? You want to cut down?
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to cut down. If you look around the world, I mean, you have iatrogenic death, posh word, sadly, for death by medical system. It's the 3rd biggest killer in the US. It's probably similar elsewhere. So you have heart cancer and iatrogenic death. So when you're on 20 or 30 meds, each is fighting to get attention from your body's pathways. Each has a contributory negative effect on you. So could we say a 2020 vision is 5 medicines max in Parliament that we aim towards? So we say, what are the most chronic diseases you're suffering from, and how do 10 or 20 meds mask all these standard protocols? And we've lost sight. No 2 pills have ever been tried in combination in a clinical trial. You're the guinea pig. So 5 meds max. There are deprescribing experts in the world, not many, but deprescribing. And you say, how do we get them off? Because each of them creates an addiction in you, a disruption to your natural healing systems that the body has got. And how can we then focus that attention to get people well, to keep them on less meds, more ambulant, more able to walk to the shops? Those things, I think, are being recognised as economically sound. I mean,
but the people who make medicines want to sell them, right? They want you to have as many as possible in that awful way.
They do. That was I think Henry Gadsden in the 70s. He said we want to make it as normal to have meds as chewing gum. But what he forgot about, I think, is that gum is hard to digest and it's not good in the gut. So those processes of getting you more used to meds, America leads the world, sadly.
Well, you talk about America. I was there last week, and every advert and every break has one for medicine. But they spend half the actual advert having to tell you what side effects it might have, because that's part of the law now.
Yeah.
And there's probably more things that put you off taking the thing, maybe, than actually taking it. But my point is that everything has a side effect, so you're chasing another pill. You're taking a pill for a side effect for another one.
They're not even marginal gains. They're increasing harm. So I think it's the opposite. And if you look at America and New Zealand, they're the only two countries in the world that have direct consumer advertising. So when you have 200 odd countries that you can't sell direct, every time you go in there, there's an American advert trying to flog you on other drugs.
Incredible.
And I think if you look at it, at 50, the average American's on 5 meds. It's not a winning formula. It doesn't know wellness, but they have a complete disregard of the gut health, the understanding of the GMOs or the glyphosate, and you're constantly fighting an invader against your immune system. So with what we have here, the space, the lack of pollutants, the open air, and we have our first glyphosate-free field. We're looking at that next year, wheat product, to bring that onto the market, and that process takes a while to get embedded.
Are you making progress in Derby? I know you've had a few
yes
bumps in the road.
Sort of yes and no. Yeah, I've not been the gentlest with that, but I do want to move it on. I did a presentation last week on omega-3s and looking at the island working with Biopharma out of Norway, looking with the sovereign government who has some big investment funds. Can we do that to grow algae on scale? It's a natural DHA, omega-3s, it's a brain food. So we don't have this sugary addicted spike in a young body. We don't understand how food is such a medicine, how it affects brain health, cognition, and those of us who like parish walks often are on a high-fat diet. You chided me, I think, 6 months ago and said, come and do the MSA
Parish
walk.
Yeah.
They've come in, so we've got them on the list now.
Really?
So for the parish drawdown list, there's some great charities here. Manx MSA, please, if you have some other spare funds, me or others, we'll have a few out there doing it for the parish. So raising MSA funds.
I know you're doing a TED talk.
Yeah,
is that right? It is right.
Yeah, no, it's Saturday.
That's exciting.
So that's good. Well, I mean, the title is I thought I'd get the first punch in. So the title is Being Well, because it's a state of being. Increasingly, wellness will be done by us. It won't be done to us or for us or with us. It'll be done by us. So peer-to-peer learning, where we have informed discussion, debate around the world. And the TED Talk is basically when Florence Nightingale met David Icke. So
when Florence Nightingale met David Icke, that's the title.
That's the title. So I was in Ramsey Hospital, and when you see a letter written by Florence Nightingale, who lived to be 100, and one of the great nurses of any era, fabulous what she did in the Crimea and her learning after her life. And then we have David Icke, somebody who asks awkward questions. I don't have the green shell suit, but we need to understand how the lizard brain works, how the lizard brain in all of us looks at others being either self or other. So it looks at other opinions and other debate as being outside of our tribe. And that David Icke saying ask awkward questions, because some of them might have a resonance, some of them might have a time now that lead us forward.
So are you doing that just in the studio or in front of a public?
No, it's in the youth centre, I've got the correct name, Youth Centre in Kensington Road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Youth Arts Centre.
And that'll be on screen then?
That's 4:20 if you've not got...
It'll
be a live stream, and it's on Tedx, Douglas 2017. So tickets, or you can just see it live or not.
Always a pleasure to catch up with you. Let's have another one of these every so often, because
6 months there'll be something new, and hopefully next time it's a bit more progress on MSA.
And hopefully when people are watching this in 100 years' time, they'll think this is how it all started here in the Isle of Man.
It starts with the first step. The TT started with people who couldn't get their voice heard in another jurisdiction. I think 5 meds max by 2020. It's doable.